welcome to my show. I'm Liz Harcharek and this is the European Palette. And today I'm going to prepare some dishes for you that come all the way from Europe from my travels this summer in France and England. I'm going to make for you a baked ricotta loaf with Parmesan and some broiled peppers made in a salad with capers and olives and basil. And then for dessert, a lovely fresh strawberry salad with hints of mint and lime. And with that, chantilly crème chantilly with vanilla and a little bit of lemon. It's going to be absolutely delicious. So let's get started. And first of all, we're going to start with our red bell peppers. I'm going to take 3 red bell peppers because that's going to fit my dish. And I'm going to quarter them. So I've started already. Now get yourselves a very, very sharp knife and quarter them like this. When you're working with vegetables, the important and safe thing to do is always find a flat surface. So that's what I do. I try to cut on a flat surface like this, and then it doesn't slip so much. There we go. And then just cut off the pith like this, and then get rid of the seeds that way and put them down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the red peppers underneath a very, very hot broiler, about 550 degrees. Now importantly, you're going to have them skin sized up underneath the broiler and they're going to be burnt, blackened. Your smoke detector might go off, don't worry. You actually do want them to get very, very burnt. And then you're going to put them in a glass bowl, cover them with some cling film and let them sweat. And they're basically going to sweat their skins off, which means that you'll just peel them off. I'll demonstrate how easy that is. So let me just finish preparing the bell peppers and then we'll pop them in the oven. Okay. So my broiler is at 550 degrees. It's red hot, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is put these peppers underneath the red hot broiler, and I have overturned a roasting pan so that they're going to get as close to that broiler as possible. Here goes. Now you want to keep a close eye on those. It's going to take between 5 and 10 minutes. As I said, don't worry if the smoke alarm goes off. Just know that it's that. And also just expect it to go very, very black. All right, 5-10 minutes, no more. Now look how easy it is just to pull this skin off. I love doing this. It's a really nice feeling. And these smell delicious, by the way. Also, at the bottom of your bowl, you're going to find some juices that will have collected the oils from the peppers. You want to keep those and add them as part of your dressing. Next, you're going to just cut your bits of pepper into thin strips. Now remember, when you're cutting, to keep your hand in this claw-like movement, then you're never ever going to run the risk of cutting off the ends of your fingers, which would be a shame and rather painful. And if you feel very bold, you can do 2 slices at a time. And then I'm going to add the juice to the bowl. So the next ingredients to add to our red bell pepper salad is basil. This is fresh from the garden today. Some chopped olives, any olives that you like, but pit them because then you're not going to have any accidents. Capers. Now capers are a little tricky. Some people don't like them, some people love them. So I would just sort of err on the side of caution and just put in a few. Salt, pepper, of course, a little bit of balsamic vinegar and some olive oil. Now then, I would want to add some anchovies. Of course, that makes it not a vegetarian salad anymore, but I love the taste of anchovies. Very salty, very, very Provençal. However, for today, I'm not going to put the anchovies in. So, we're going to cut the basil into a chiffonade. A lot of people say that if you cut basil, then you've ruined it, but I don't think that's the case. And so I would just chop away like this. Remember to keep your fingers in that claw-like position so that you don't cause yourself any harm. And then, so as, again, not to cause myself any harm, I like to transfer whatever's on my chopping board into this, I don't even know what it's called. In the cooking school, we call it that scrapey thing. And I'm then going to add that to my salad. Toss in my olives. In fact, let's bring that bowl over here so you can see what I'm doing. And the capers. So then some pepper, a little bit of salt. Always do this with dry fingers, otherwise you get very wet salt. A little bit of balsamic vinegar, lovely, just a little bit. So you've got that little Italian touch to it. And I'm going slowly. Now, when I say a little bit, I would say that would have been about half a tablespoon, and then dribble some olive oil on. I love this dispenser because I can go really slowly, and olive oil is an expensive commodity. I wouldn't overuse your olive oil. We already have olives in there. Salt, not too much salt, because of course you've got the saltiness of the capers in there. And then just toss your salad. Now we're going to use this salad to accompany our baked ricotta, and the beauty of it is those vibrant red and green colours which are going to be next to the sort of white milkiness of the loaf, and it's really going to look wonderful. Nice contrast between the two colours and the textures, because of course ricotta isn't a terribly strong cheese, whereas of course you've got these really bold punchy flavours next to it. Perfect. And now to my baked ricotta. Now, I first ate this during my honeymoon, which was this summer. And so picture this. Here we were, a group of international people, French, American, English, Dutch, and we were at this long table outside underneath the stars. And this was our first course, just baked ricotta. And I thought, how beautiful, how simple. Now I'm jazzing it up a little bit with the red peppers, but when I was given the recipe, I thought, how beautiful, how simple, how easy to make. And the best thing about this, everybody, is that you can make it a day in advance. So, you know, it's perfect for a dinner party or just to eat as supper, because it's actually only a few ingredients. We're going to have the equivalent of about 3.5 cups of ricotta. Now in grams that's 750 grams, but I would just measure out 3.5 cups. 2 eggs, and then about a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. That comes to about 4 ounces, so you can buy one of those 4-ounce tubs of grated Parmesan cheese and you're fine. Then you want to have a loaf pan. This is the loaf pan, and you want to line it with baking parchment. That's important because you're going to unmold it and you don't want it to stick to the sides. Now you want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees, and the other thing, this is really fast. So take your ricotta. Don't use semi-skim or fat-free. Use the proper stuff. You might as well, if you're going to do it properly. And then secondly, crack 2 eggs up into the bowl like that. And by the way, I think you might have noticed that I keep a bowl on my work surface so that I can just toss everything in there. It's really annoying having to walk across this kitchen to the trash can. You probably drip and everything. It's much neater actually just to throw everything into the one bowl and then toss it at the end of your session. That's what we do in cooking class. Up, second egg, 2 eggs, and then we're going to beat those together. Finally, I put my Parmesan cheese into a jug because I just want to put about 3/4 of it, and I think it's easier to see what's left. Okay, just be careful that the last bit doesn't come out into a lump. And I'm going to beat that in with it. And then finally we're going to flavour it. Now I like to put a little bit of nutmeg in. Nutmeg is the French secret to seasoning white sauces and cheese dishes. They put nutmeg in gratin dauphinois, for example, and in cheese soufflés. And this is a little bit like a soufflé, only you don't have to mess around with making a bechamel sauce and whipping egg whites. So you'll see, it's very easy. So in goes the nutmeg, some salt, and also a little bit of pepper. If you don't have nutmeg, that's fine. If you would be interested, I think it's a good thing to have in your store cupboard, and it keeps very well. So we'll finish beating it. And then I'm going to transfer it to my baking pan. Now, smooth off the top. And then shake the rest of the Parmesan over the top. Use your fingers, don't be afraid, just to make sure that goes out and just remove those bits. They might burn a little bit, but it'll be absolutely fine. Then you're going to put that into your preheated oven, 400 degrees, and you're going to cook it for about 30-35 minutes. So when my ricotta finished baking, I took it out and I let it cool completely in the tin. That made it a little more solid because it's kind of wobbly when you take it out. Don't be worried about that. So leave it for an hour or two, or even overnight if you want. And then you just take it out and put it on a serving dish. And doesn't that look pretty? And it's so easy. And then I'm going to take my pepper salad and I'm just going to put the peppers around the serving dish, just so that you can see that contrast. So alternatively, if you'd like to prepare ahead of time, what you can do is slice the ricotta into individual slices and then set them out on your plates and spread your pepper salad around it. It looks beautiful. Removing seeds from a vanilla pod. All you need is a vanilla pod, a very little knife and a chopping board. Let's go. And you need to have a fairly soft, pliable vanilla bean. It's really hard to cut into a vanilla bean that's brittle. So this is sort of intricate, which is why you want to have a nice sharp and little knife. And what you're going to do is split your bean in half, like so. There we go. And you don't need to go fast. The important thing is to do it safely. As you can see, that's revealed all the little vanilla beans, seeds rather. These are the little black dots that you see in your vanilla ice cream. And then you're going to use the back of your knife to scrape it off. Just like that. That's all you have to do. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it's going to be plenty. And then what you do with your leftover bits, you're not going to throw these away. Keep a jar of sugar and put your leftover bits of vanilla into your jar of sugar, because it's going to make you beautifully vanilla flavored sugar. If you want to get good value vanilla beans locally, go to Whole Earth Center on Nassau Street, because they sell them each for just under $2, and they're lovely and soft and pliable, and it's so much cheaper than buying them in a supermarket. All right, now then, for my strawberry salad, of course you can just serve plain strawberries, but if you add a little bit of acid in the form of lime juice, that really cuts through the sweetness, and the mint gives it a little taste that's sort of a hint of exoticism. So what I'm going to do is cut up my mint. Now this is called a chiffonade of mint. What you actually do is roll up the leaves together and then slice through them. I'll show you how. In fact, I'm not really rolling, I'm kind of bunching. Now what the chiffonade does is it gives you those sort of nice little thin strips of the leaves, and I'll sprinkle those over the strawberries. We'll mix it all together at the end. And then a little bit of lime zest. Here we go. These microplane graters are perfect for grating I mean. Then a little bit of sugar, not too much, just to sweeten it. The last thing I do is I squeeze a little bit of lime juice into the fruit salad. So I'm going to use just my hand. First of all, take your citrus fruit. Always use it at room temperature if you're trying to extract juice, because for some reason it comes out more easily. Secondly, give it a little roll. Then slice it in half. And use your fingers to stop any pips from coming through. And then just about half a lime will do it. Hop. And then you're just going to stir up your salad. That's for the strawberries, and now we're going to make our crème chantilly, whipped cream with a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of lemon zest and a little bit of sugar. It goes really well together. So now here you have your seeds from your vanilla pod, and you're going to put those in the bottom of the bowl. That's important. Secondly, take your lemon and grate about a quarter of the lemon into it. And then you're going to take a cup of heavy cream or whipping cream and pour that into the bottom of the bowl, nice and cold, and start to whip it. Much better to do it with an electric beater. Always make sure that the beaters are inside the cream before you start whipping, otherwise it's just going to fly everywhere. When your cream starts to hold very soft peaks like this, it's pretty much ready. So just whip a little bit more and then stop. If you over whip, then you're going to make butter. You know, like in the old days when you did the colonial fair in 4th grade and you shook a lot of cream in a jar and it made butter. Well, that's what you'll do if you go too far. So just don't. And there you can see it's ready.
Sorry. I'm rolling now too. Okay, we're both rolling.
And there you have it, a little bit of European summer. A lovely Parmesan baked ricotta, a red pepper salad, and strawberries and cream. Typically British, but with that little southern France flair. Thank you very much for watching The European Palette. I'm Liz Harcherek. Bye-bye.